So here, Gabby has an Asus laptop. It only has 8 gigs of memory. I didn't realize it only had 8 gigs, so she kept complaining about locking up. And I looked there, and I didn't realize when we bought it, it only had 8 gigs. Because otherwise, it's a pretty good laptop for doing office work. She has an Asus VivoBook 15. Like I said, for doing office work, for Gabby does, it does plenty. Other than it getting slow when she has a lot of programs open, and having 8 gigs of RAM is obviously why that problem is, because Chrome eats RAM like a Godzilla. So here I'm going to take it apart with these screws. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 visible ones. There's probably a hidden one in here. There's usually one underneath these rubber feet or sticker. A lot of times manufacturers do that to know if you've opened it up or not on your own. I didn't look up any guides on doing this. Usually you don't have to for adding RAM. It's usually straightforward. Getting cases off is usually the most difficult part. But we'll see if they got any extra hidden screws here. So all you do is just go after the ones you can see. And you just start gently pulling away and see where it sticks. Because your little rubber feet have a double-sided tape that's only good so much. So if you like having that, you don't want to pull it away if you don't need to, because you won't get the stick back on in most cases. It's kind of a one and done scenario. So like I said, I've not looked anything up on this one. So I'm just going at doing it as I go. A lot of times you don't have to look up. Sometimes you might have to. They hide the RAM underneath other components. But a lot of times you can identify it. So here's a new RAM. So you just kind of look at the motherboard and see, match it up if you're not real savvy. So see here in the front, the screws are shorter. So that's something to also pay attention to. So you got longer, shorter screws. If you put a long screw where short ones be, you can crack a screen or something else. So you always pay attention to if you got different size screws as you take something apart. This metal screw is a short one, so I'm going to have to kind of turn it upside down to get it out. You still fight a little bit. There we go. Yeah, he's not one of the shorter ones. Okay. So here we're just looking on how to separate this now. I got a little kit here with plastic pliers, not pliers, so that you can separate without gouging your casing, because casing's made out of plastic. You didn't shut it off. So Gabby forgot to shut it off. Have to do that because you do not pull RAM with it on, you'll mess it up. So this be another minute. So if you start pulling stuff off the motherboard with it on, you can damage components. You can destroy the computer possibly. You can remove casing with the computer on, you just can't start pulling stuff off the motherboard.
Really from here.
All right, so I got a little bit of the edge here when I open it up. So now just take my pry bar, plastic, just kind of see if it starts coming up. You go really gentle, because like I said, there may be a hidden screw here that I don't know about, and we don't want to break any of the casing. So that was pretty straightforward. Just came right off. Here's the hard drive. It kind of has a rubber boot around it. It kind of pulled away. I got to reseat it. It was really important. So this all goes together the way it's supposed to. Here's the RAM chip. Here's the RAM chip right there. So I'm going to remove that and put another one in. There's just 2 pins on the side. They always pop up and slides out. There's Conan saying hi. Little boy. Conan, back.
Conan, come on.
That's Conan. He wants to be part of the video.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so I had them look it up at Micro Center, and they sourced me that this hat could take another stick of RAM, and I only see one RAM slot, which is fine. These are still 16 gig sticks, which means we have doubled her size. I'll look around a little more, but usually they're right back to back or side to side, and there's not much left here on the motherboard. So it's more than likely that they were incorrect, because they have an application there that you put in the model number and it's supposed to tell you if it has upgradable RAM or not. But like I said, here it looks like we only got one slot, and I'm not seeing much more. But I was able to put a 16 gig stick in here for Gabby. That is doubling her capacity, and she will notice major differences. There we go. So I had to get her hard drive back in, seated back in here. It's always important to get everything seated the same way it's supposed to. So if anyone's curious, this is a solid state drive, SSDs. That's what makes your computer boot up faster nowadays. This is where your RAM is, and this is your traditional disk drive. So a lot of times this is for your OS, and this is where all of your storage applications go, because your OS is what you want it faster, and then your storage for more read-write. That means the more you delete and install stuff, there's only so many read-write capabilities on a solid state. There's a lot more on a disk drive still. So, and this is your battery. Battery's internal. You can change these. Like having it open, we can look and see that this isn't swollen. So that means it's still in good shape. When they get swollen, it means they're bad. And a lot of times you'll either see pressure on the case, or you'll also notice that your battery only stays charged for 5 minutes. Now, hers is a little dusty. I'm going to get some air, because this is her graphical GPU fan here, and it has a lot of dust on there. She takes this thing everywhere with her, and you see we got dogs. So I'm going to blow this out with dust. I will do that now. I'll go get the dust, or the compressed air. It is messy, so hang tight and look at Gabby for a second.
Hey guys, well, I need my computer. I need memory. It's memory, right? So the lactose start to give me some problems. So David just help me with this. So we'll see how it works after that. And it's very dusty because the doggies. We have 2 German Shepherds, and right now we have another puppy.
Okay, so this is going to make a big mess at the table here. You just get compressed air, blow it here. Blow some of that off the table, since this is the kitchen table. So there we go. So that's cleaned up now. That's good, because the dust acts as an insulator, like a blanket, and it can overheat. Yeah, this is very straightforward. It is just a 1-slot upgrade. But like I said, the fact that these are 16 gig sticks, I was able to put that in there, and she has 16 gigs of RAM now, which is double her capacity. She was on average using about 6 at a time. So her doubling it, she'll notice quite a performance improvement. I was hoping to put 32 in here. She would have really noticed a major improvement, but 16, she'll be cooking along much better than what she was as well. So now I'm just putting the screws back in place. You kind of just push in very gently, because you don't want to push against your screen. Put your screws in as they go. The short ones were up front. If it's your home computer and you plan on doing a lot, you don't always have to put every single screw in. Obviously, if you're doing this for someone else, you put every single screw in. But like I said, it's not necessary if it's your home one. I'll put them all in for Gabby's. But some people just leave screws in for quick access. They'll just put the 4 corners on or something if they do a lot of work on their PCs. If you have a PC tower, a lot of times people don't really screw them back, the side case back in, just so they can get in there and modify it more often. Now, more than likely something will happen when we turn this on. It will say the amount of memory has changed. You just hit OK because it knows it only had 8 before. That's not, there's nothing wrong when you get that message. It's just the motherboard detecting it's got more RAM. And it says, hey, I'm different than last time I was on. You just hit OK, acknowledge, and let it boot up. So there's all her screws back in. Flip this over. And her power button's over here. So we'll turn this on. I'm going to look at it first, make sure it does turn on. You have to hold the button down, or just tap it?
Just tap it.
Okay. So. It wasn't off all the way. So. I was able to hear the hard drive turn off as I was holding down the power button, so I had to hold it down again to recycle power. And it might take a second because it's got the different memory chip in there, so it'll be a minute. You want to say, see, it did turn on. So in case anyone's wondering if I messed up. And now so now it's booting up. This is a lot faster than her computer had booted up before. It used to take quite a bit. So Windows is a monster. Windows takes a lot of RAM. It uses almost 50% of your RAM just to be on. Every version of Windows takes more, so you gotta buy more RAM. There you go. There's a RAM update.